Good evening, and welcome to the Commack Council of PTAs Meet the Candidate Night. I am Tony Newman, President of Council, and on behalf of myself and my executive board, I thank you for tuning in to this event. Tonight's forum will be moderated by Council, and I will serve as the moderator, and Nicole Perez will be the timekeeper. I thank the community for submitting questions in advance, and I thank my council officers for their help putting this together. We received over 60 questions and did our best to cultivate 15 questions that best represent what is on the mind of the community. The candidates for the Commack Board of Elections are as follows. Running for one seat, unopposed, is Gus Huber. Running for another seat, we have Ms. Priscilla Warner and Ms. Nicole Goldstein. Each seat will serve for 3 years. Tonight, we have with us only the candidates that are competing for the one seat, Ms. Warner and Ms. Goldstein. I thank you, the candidates, for participating in this event and allowing us to ask questions important to the community so that we may be informed voters on May 20th. About tonight's forum. Each candidate will be allowed 3 minutes to make a presentation stating qualifications and reasons for running. Then I will proceed with the questions. Each candidate will be given 1 minute to answer each question. No rebuttals are allowed during the questions and answer period. This is not a debate. Finally, each candidate will be allowed 2 minutes to make a closing statement after the last question has been answered. Candidates may use their closing remarks to make rebuttals if they wish. Opening presentations will be in alphabetical order. Closing statements will be in reverse alphabetical order. I will do my best to alternate who gets to answer a question first. The candidates were not advised of our questions ahead of time. Okay, let's get started. Ms. Goldstein, you have 3 minutes to provide opening remarks.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to start by thanking the PTA Council for hosting tonight and for their continued commitment to our students and families. I'd also like to thank the CTA for their endorsement, especially during Teacher Appreciation Week. There's truly no better time to celebrate the incredible impact that our educators have on this community. My name is Nicole Goldstein, and I am honored to be running for a seat for Commack Board of Education. My family and I have moved to Commack in 2018, drawn by its incredible schools and strong sense of community. My husband, a retired NYPD officer, and I have been married for almost 13 years, and together we are the proud parents of 2 sons who attend Sawmill Intermediate and receive special education services. I have been an educator in New York City for 19 years, teaching grades 1 through 9 in a variety of settings, including general education, ICT, 1211, and 812 classrooms. Currently, I provide AIS Tier 2 services for grades 3 to 5, and I have served on many committees throughout my years. Here in Commack, I've stayed actively involved since day one. I've served as a class parent since 2019 and currently serve as president of Commack SEPTA Executive Board, following terms as vice president and corresponding secretary. I regularly attend Board of Ed meetings and was honored to receive this year's PTA Council Honorary Life Membership Award. I am running for the Board of Education because I am deeply committed to advocating for all students. Every child, regardless of background or ability, deserves access to the resources, support, and opportunities that they need to thrive. As both an educator and a mother of children who receive special education services, I know the importance of creating learning environments that are responsive, supportive, and engaging. To achieve that, we must prioritize collaboration among families, educators, administrators, and the board. Our teachers are the heart of our schools. When we invest in their development and provide tools that they need, we set our students up for success. We also need to continue to strengthen communication between schools and families. Parents should feel informed, involved, and respected. Clear, transparent communication builds trust and keeps us focused on what matters most, which is our children. When families and schools are truly connected, we create a learning environment where every student feels valued, challenged, and supported. And finally, we must continue to support our students' mental health. Academic achievement and emotional well-being go hand in hand, and every child deserves to feel safe, encouraged, respected, and confident in school. Commack is already an outstanding district, but there's always room to grow. I'm committed to advocating for all students, supporting teachers, engaging families, and working together to ensure Commack continues to thrive. I would be honored to earn your vote and serve on this incredible community on the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Uh, Okay, Ms. Warner, your opening remarks.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to thank the PTA for this opportunity to speak tonight and Tony for moderating. And thank you to everyone watching this Q&A session. My name is Priscilla Warner, and I've been a Commack resident for about 4.5 years. Since moving here in 2020, I've started my family and continued to grow my roots right here in Commack. I'm the mother of a terrific toddler who will enter the district in the coming years. I hold a BFA in art education and a minor in psychology. I have taught independent art lessons for many years and have experience as a preschool teacher. For the last almost 10 years, I've worked for a family-run business overseeing the customer service department, managing shipping exports, and social media content. I'm also an accomplished community volunteer. Some of my work includes being a board member on 2 local nonprofits that focus on equality for women, expansion of female representation in STEM fields, and promoting civic education. I also spend some of my free time as a volunteer counselor for the crisis text line because advocating for mental health is a cause that is very close to my heart. I'm a member of Moms Demand Action, a group dedicated to educating the public on gun safety and violence prevention. As a longtime service volunteer, mom, and former educator, running for school board is the next step for me to continue to serve my community. Commack is the neighborhood that I chose for my family because of its welcoming community and its top-ranking schools. I'm very happy to be here today, and I'm excited to talk about my passion for education and for service.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go into the questions. All right, first one. What in your personal and professional experience and expertise makes you the most qualified candidate for the board seat, and why are you seeking it? Ms. Warner, you go first.
So I have to say, I've served as an executive board member in 2 outstanding local nonprofits, one of which is Zonta of Suffolk and one of which is Suffolk Now. So I spend a lot of time already doing a lot of advocacy work, and I feel like that empowers me to aspire to an even greater position in our community, which is why I am running for this seat. I do have experience in education, although it is not my current field. So I think a combination of my experience as an executive board member, my previous experience as an educator, and also being a community member. I'm social within my neighborhood, and I have a son who'll be in the district soon. So I'm very invested in making sure that he enters a district that continues to be excellent and top quality.
Thank you. Ms. Goldstein?
Can you repeat the question for me?
Sure. What in your personal and professional experience and expertise makes you the most qualified candidate for the board seat, and why are you seeking it?
Okay, so as I've stated before, I've been an educator in New York City for almost 20 years. I have taught special ed. I've taught general education. I've been in the classroom. I know what it's like as a teacher. I've also been very involved in Commack since I've moved here. I've been going to PTA meetings and getting on any committees that I could be involved in to be present in my children's schools. I've always offered to lend a hand wherever I could. On SEPTA, I've helped many parents. They reach out to me and my board as well, and it's a non-threatening environment. They don't feel like they can't talk to me about certain topics, and they're very forthcoming with information. So I think I'm just overall very approachable.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, next question. What are your thoughts regarding mental health and social emotional well-being in our schools? How will you make this a priority for all students, families, and staff members? Ms. Goldstein, you go first.
So social emotional learning is a huge topic, honestly. I take it very seriously. There are programs in place within Commack School District that are thriving and they are building upon. The students are learning different strategies to basically deal with their emotions and to address their and regulate themselves and self-regulate themselves. I do have a lot of background with social emotional learning, and I feel that with teaching children how to self-regulate and to expose themselves and understand what they're feeling and why they're feeling that way, and empowering them to make changes and to be able to navigate their life appropriately and positively.
Thank you. Ms. Warner?
Yes. So research shows that students receiving quality social emotional instruction have achievement score increases, greater motivation to learn, and they devote more time to their studies. They have better classroom behavior, and they have an overall reduction in emotional stress. I personally have a very strong interest in mental health because I've seen what the neglect of it can do. Caring for the whole child and making mental health education a priority in school is a way that we can build a better foundation of skills for our kids and be more successful in navigating the challenges of life. Commack already has a lot of really fantastic programs in place. We have Movement in the Arts, we have Cedar Road, the alternative high school, and these programs are things that I think we need to continue to devote more time into so that students can continue to learn these techniques and be able to implement them in their life. As a crisis counselor, I receive myself continued de-escalation training and training on the importance of self-care. So I believe so strongly in preserving and expanding these topics.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next question. How would you foster the Board of Education's relationship with district teachers and support staff? Ms. Warner?
So I think that having open lines of communication in as many ways as possible is the key to success. Everyone's voices, all of our community stakeholders coming together in a respectful community way is how Commack has become the pillar of success that it is. So it's my intention to keep it that way. We need to make sure that all opinions are heard, people feel like they are being validated and taken seriously, and that they have every opportunity to speak when they need to for both good and bad reasons. If somebody has a concern, we want to make sure that they are having that concern met. And if they're seeing a success, we want to make sure that we are sharing those successes as well, sharing what's working really well and sharing what we feel like we need to have more work done on.
Thank you. Ms. Goldstein?
Can you repeat the question again?
Of course. How would you foster the Board of Education's relationship with district teachers and support staff?
So I think communication is honestly key. Having open communication with both serving as a board member and being able to communicate with the teachers and the support staff and listen to their needs and figure out what it is that they need more help with and support to be as successful as they can be because they're on the front lines with our children and they need to be supported just as much as our children do. So we need to really work with them and listen to what their needs are so that schools can be as successful as they can be for our kids.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Receiving appropriate services and instruction has become increasingly difficult for many of our students. What experience do you have and/or suggestions can you make to help Commack, a district that accepts and offers a healthy learning environment for all of its students? Ms. Goldstein?
So as a teacher, providing AIS Tier 2 services, I see firsthand the challenges of accessing services and instruction just on the day-to-day basis. I've worked closely with families to ensure that students receive the appropriate support that they need based on what they need. My experience with that involves just basically empowering the parents and showing them the resources that they need to reach out to and what they feel is best appropriate for their child, to prioritize the resources and the instruction and making sure that the staff is receiving professional development in order to support these students.
Thank you. Ms. Warner?
I think that this is a very relevant topic for everyone currently because with the state of affairs with our federal and state government, there are programs that will have the potential to be at risk. And I think it's very important that we do as much as we can to make sure that we are prioritizing in the budget support structures for our teachers and our educational staff to provide adequate services to our students. I'm familiar with 504 plans and IEPs and um, the structure of things that students may need to see support. And this is a range. Some students need a lot of support, some students don't need support, and some students have neither a 504 plan nor an IEP, and they still require additional support structures. So I think we need to be very conscious with our budget going forward so that we have the room in the budget to continue to provide these services.
Thank you. Okay. Please share both a highlight and a lowlight about your experience so far with the Commack School District. From your own personal experience as a parent, what is working well and where is there room for improvement? Ms. Warner?
So my son isn't in the district yet. So I guess, low light is he's not in it yet. So I'm trying to get in here on the ground floor. You know, we've been here for 4 years. So I've always been a very active community member. So I guess personal low light is I need to do a little bit more to be involved in the community because my son isn't in the school. I think that as a community, there aren't many lowlights to share. There's always fantastic things going on. As far as highlights of our community and our district, I think that we're doing a great job with our social emotional learning. I think we're doing a really fantastic job pushing STEM opportunities out for our children. I think that the Discovery Den is a fantastic opportunity. I think the hydroponic towers are fantastic. And I really appreciate what the board was able to do with the Marion Carl Farm. Seeing our students grow their own crops is the cutest thing in the whole world. It's so empowering.
Thank you. Ms. Goldstein?
Highlights. I mean, I could list a million. The teachers, the programs, the support. Whenever you reach out to anybody, they're responsive. Honestly, the teachers in Commack are the best teachers that I think are on the island. Lowlights, I always fight for more opportunities for inclusion. So, little things here and there. My son specifically is in an 8 class. So I'm always looking for opportunities for him to be integrated where appropriate into different areas within the school, within classrooms, within programs after school, before school. And they've always been very responsive, but just making that more of a commonality and less of like an afterthought, just as an inclusive programming.
Thank you. Okay, next question. If you had to cut 5% from the budget today, where would you start? And what would you fight hardest to protect? Ms. Goldstein?
So if I had to cut, I guess I would look at the electives like within the middle school and the high school, and I would see, are there any that students are not necessarily gravitating towards? And are there any that we could not get rid of completely, but maybe lessen so that we could look for more opportunities for the students? I mean, they have many electives within the middle school and the high school, and not all of them are completely full. So maybe that would be an area that I would look into. And then I'm sorry, what was the second part? Ed?
What would you fight hardest to protect?
I mean, I would fight hardest to protect the support services, honestly. AIS services, small class sizes, and special education support.
Thank you. Ms. Warner?
So for myself, if I was reviewing the budget and looking for places to cut back, I think one of the areas that we could definitely look at would be perhaps some of the technology costs that we use. So I know that every student gets a Chromebook and we do rotate these out on a particular basis. So seeing if there's any way that we can extend the life of some of these items. Of course, technology does come with a planned obsolescence. So I think for me, I think it would be really important to look at anywhere where we're spending money on supplies that we could maybe get a little bit extra life out of. I think it's also really important that we continue to advocate against unfunded education mandates to make more room in the budget for things that matter. I think we absolutely have to protect the compensation packages for our teachers, and we have to protect the support structures for our students and their programming.
Thank you. How would you keep the lines of communication and transparency open, positive, and productive between parents, students, teachers, administrators, and the board? Ms. Warner?
We have excellent board meetings. You can attend them in person, you can live stream them, you can watch the recorded versions. So obviously every month we have an opportunity for anybody in the community, all of our community stakeholders to show up, ask questions, find out what's going on. Every board meeting I've been to has been so informative. It has been just a fantastic learning experience to know more about our teachers, our students, and our administration and what they're planning and the timeline of new programs for students. Everybody there is very approachable. So I think pushing to have higher attendance at these meetings, I noticed there tends to not be as many people there. And also stressing that communication can come via many ways. So you can always email or call in with questions, and make sure that people understand that the board is here to help and we're here to listen.
Thank you. Ms. Goldstein?
I think communication is key. Honestly, it's the foundation of trust and collaboration and student success in our schools. Working on SEPTA for the past 2 years, we've been able to reach more parents, and we know kind of what works best and what is less engaging for parents. We, as Commack, we have launched Parent Square, and that is very informative. Like Priscilla had said, we live stream the board meetings so people are able to access them or go back to them if they're not able to attend the meetings. But not only does communication build on relationships, it supports parents and it reduces any confusion or pressure. And just being able to focus groups in technology had a focus group on what was working and what wasn't. So I feel like they got parents' voice as well. And that was a very positive thing as far as communication.
Thank you. Okay, next question. What is your position about book banning? Ms. Goldstein?
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
What is your position about book banning?
So it's a hot topic. I will say that every student deserves to see themselves reflected in their education. They need to feel valued and they need to learn the full honest story about our history because it did happen. Silencing these stories it doesn't only marginalize the students, but it weakens the critical thinking of our students and the empathy that we strive to nurture. If I'm elected, I would work collaboratively with fellow board members to ensure that our schools remain places where all students feel seen, respected, and represented, and where access to diverse, fact-based educational materials is protected and valued. And our schools must be a place where every student feels seen, respected, and empowered to learn and to grow.
Thank you. Ms. Warner?
I am not in favor of book banning. I think that teachers intentionally choose the material for their classes by reviewing the books, reviewing the content that's in them, and they select these things for a reason. They select these things because they believe them to be age appropriate, and they select these books because they believe that there's something that the children can get out of them. So as far as my trust in the education system and our educators, I'm against book banning. I feel like we need to have that trust in the teachers. And if we have a concern as a parent, we can always speak to a teacher. We can have supplemental discussions with our students without silencing voices that are important to be heard. You know, some books may seem unapproachable to some parents because it may get into a topic that they don't really want to discuss. But I think that it's very important to continue to have children who are culturally aware that we don't ban books.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Currently, there is a cap on the number of students that can attend the Cedar Road School. With the increase in demands for services provided at Cedar Road, what are your thoughts on expansion? Ms. Warner?
I think there definitely is a valuable argument for expanding the capacity. I think that if it is a demand that we need to keep up with, we need to find ways to make that an accessible pathway for students. Because of the success of this program in getting students who are otherwise not going to be in school to be in a place where they belong, a place where they're still feel cared for, a place where they can continue to see themselves growing and perhaps reintegrating back into the regular public school. I think we really need to do whatever it is that we can to preserve that. As I said before, I am concerned that funding that we may have for this may be at risk. So it's definitely something that we'll need to keep an eye on and continue to include in projections going forward in the budget.
Thank you. Ms. Goldstein?
School anxiety and avoidance has been increasingly concerning, and it has impacted many students in Commack. Cedar Road has been a wonderful outlet for these students to be able to attend school in a non-threatening environment. I think as an educator, I've worked with students facing anxiety, and I've seen how critical it is to create that safe, supportive environment that encourages students to return to school and to engage and to feel safe. I think that if we expand the social emotional support, including counseling services and just individualized interventions, partnering with other organizations like Northwell Health has been a huge help for parents. I think that it would be beneficial to these students as well.
Thank you. Okay, next question. In your opinion, what should the school district, what should the school district balance freedom of religion and how should the school district balance freedom of religion and expression?
I think Commack does a great job of, empowering students and letting them express themselves and share their cultures and their religions with others. I know that there are many clubs throughout the high school that are clubs that these students of certain religions and backgrounds join and have created and have taken upon themselves to ask to create because they want to connect with people of the same culture and of the same background. I think school is a place, obviously, of learning, but I think it's very important that these students are able to connect with others that are alike and that they can find common ground with, and not only students that are like them, but teach their friends that maybe don't have the same background about their cultures and their religions.
Thank
you. Ms. Warner?
So for me, the distinction is that these programs should be student-led versus adult-led. I think that students sharing their culture, sharing their background, sharing their religion, either by clubs or other after-school activities together, is a really great resource for building shared knowledge, building community, destigmatizing cultures that they may not know much about. This is where we see a lot of fear that causes bullying, is when people are not exposed to those of other cultures. So I think as long as these programs are student led and student empowered, then I find them to be very useful and very empowering to the students.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Commack is a diverse community, including people of varied disabilities, religions, cultures, races, gender identities, and sexual orientations. As a school board member, how would you ensure Commack supports the success and acceptance of all students? Ms. Warner?
I think we need to continue to build on our multicultural and diversity initiatives. I think that, again, in this political climate, we may need to come up with other ways of discussing these things, but I think that we can't back down and let them fall by the wayside. We need to make sure that everybody in our community feels like they belong, because they do. Everyone has a right to be here, and everyone has a right to be involved, feel safe, and learn in an environment that is conducive to their growth. And part of that is going to school and knowing that you're going to see people that are like you, you're going to see people that are not like you, and we all have a place and we all belong. So I think that we need to continue with the programs that we have. I think that we can certainly build upon them. Again, have student-led initiatives to continue to build these, and allow students to have pride in who they are, and pride in where they come from and their family values.
Thank you. Ms. Goldstein?
So it's about creating an environment where everyone feels respected and valued and given a fair opportunity to succeed and feel successful. I would work collaboratively to ensure that schools reflect these values, and when students are supported academically, socially, and emotionally, they are able to make decisions and be the best versions of themselves. So to me, it's about treating people with dignity and acknowledging different lived experiences and making sure that no one is left out or overlooked. It's also about recognizing that not every child fits neatly into a mold. Education shouldn't be about one size fits all. Some students are square pegs in round holes, and it's our responsibility to ensure that they're not forced to change or forced to belong or succeed. And at the same time, I just feel like that approach empowers them as students as well.
Thank you. Describe or discuss any experience you have had working to build consensus or collaboration between two opposing groups or members of a community. Ms. Goldstein?
So collaboration among not only parents and teachers, administrators, the community is essential, honestly. You need collaboration in order to be successful. As far as working on SEPTA for the past 2 years, I have opposing views from parents that reach out to me. I have opposing views from administrators with parents. You have to find a common ground. You have to be able to hear both sides. You have to be able to respectfully come to a conclusion, as whether it's about your child, about yourself, about the school, about a policy. But I think collaboration and just working together with different people. I work together with, my colleagues at work, and we don't always agree, but we find common ground because it's what's best for the students, and that's what we're there for.
Thank you. Ms. Warner?
So, as president of one of the nonprofits that I am a part of, Zanta of Suffolk, I've worked really hard to build consensus. Our membership has become smaller over the years and more divided in the pathways that we should take to continue to serve our community. So it has been my great pleasure as our current chapter president to reinvigorate the passion for the members of my group and remind everyone that ultimately, whatever pathway we each think that we should be taking, we're all here for a common cause. We're all here to serve the community and to do our best to make sure that there is success for women and children in our area. And I think that it would be a very easy translation for me to bring that into working with the board. Obviously, people are going to have different opinions. Building consensus is about listening to everyone's point of view and prioritizing on what's most important to them and remembering the reason why we're here, which is the kids.
Thank you. Okay. What do you see as the strengths and weaknesses of the Commack Special Education Program? Ms. Warner?
So I think the strengths that I've observed from some of the contact that I've had with SEPTA is that everyone that's involved in the program has their whole heart and mind into what they do. They are all from the top down. I mean, Nicole was incredibly receptive to me reaching out to her and wanting to sit in on a SEPTA session. They really make sure that parents have the best information to make the best decisions for their students. What I have heard as far as things that we can do better on is expediting services for the children, expediting evaluations. We all know how critical it is to have evaluations done in a timely fashion. We also know how expensive it is to have these done outside of the school system. So we need to come up with ways to be able to have students evaluated in a timely manner so that they can start receiving services.
Thank you. Ms. Goldstein?
So as a teacher, I understand both sides of special ed, the professional side and then the personal side, because I do have two sons with IEPs. Sitting on both sides of the table is very different. What I think Commack is great at is that it has multiple options for children to be in Commack, to stay in Commack and not have to seek services outside of Commack. There are classes that are opened every year dependent on the population of kids coming in or moving up. And I think that that's a positive. I think the support staff and the special education staff in general is amazing. We work together with the Board of Ed and they have open communication as far as SEPTA goes. They're willing to hear our concerns and make changes and make adjustments. As far as things that I would improve is communication. Consistent information should come from the district and not necessarily the teacher at times.
Thank you. Okay. If elected, what would be your top priority? Ms. Goldstein?
Okay. So my top priorities would be so I think that in order to strengthen the Commack district, communication and collaboration, it's great. I'm not saying it needs improvement. It just sometimes we hear stories from parents that messages get lost in translation. So they have made great strides with using Parent Square and communication throughout reaching out to parents, but I think that that could improve a little bit. Another priority for me is ensuring that all students, regardless of their background or learning styles, they have access to the support and opportunities that they deserve. Being a teacher of Tier 2 services, I have heard from parents seeking more help and unable to get it. So that would be a priority for me as well.
Thank you. Ms. Warner?
For myself, my top priority would be to continue to advocate at an even greater level for our community and our district, both in Albany and at a federal level. I think that we need to, as board members, be willing to go out there and fight for what we need. Especially right now, we need to make sure that any changes that are affecting us at a district level, as far as funds that we receive, as far as unfunded mandates, that we're willing to step up as leaders in our community and advocate for our students, advocate for our community. We don't want to have our community take on excessive burden with regard to the budget, and we don't want to have our students lose out on opportunities that currently exist for them. So for me, it's about continued advocacy, continually fighting for us and for our children.
Thank you.
Mhm.
What is your vision for our community and how do you plan on making it happen? Ms. Warner?
So, my vision for our community is to just continue to grow. And we're already a top tier district. We're one of the best on Long Island. So, I think what we need to continue to do is be meeting these benchmarks. The New York State report card shows that Commack is among the top. I mean, we score 4 out of 4, 3 out of 4 in every single category. We have excellent graduation rates. We have excellent attendance rates. So we just need to continue what we're doing and make sure that while we're staying compliant with whatever policies we may need to be compliant with, that we are keeping what we know works. We know what works. We know that supporting our teachers, we know that supporting our children with special needs, and we know that having a curriculum and extracurricular activities that excite children and keep them engaged is a way to see more success.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Ms. Goldstein?
I think my vision for Commack is to continue on the trajectory that it's on. Other schools look to us for examples and for guidance, and I think that says a lot. I know we've spoken a lot over the years about the Bloomberg lab, but so many school districts have come to look at ours to see what we're doing so that they can make their school districts better. I think advocating for all students, not only a small population of students, and making sure that all of our students are succeeding and there's programs and opportunities for all levels of students, is something that we could work on as well. But I think we're doing a great job, and I think we should just keep going up.
Thank you. Okay, that was our last question. All right, so Ms. Warner, you have 2 minutes to provide your closing remarks.
Okay, thank you. So I'd love to start by expressing my deepest gratitude to my family, my friends, and my neighbors who have all taken the time to listen to me speak endlessly about my passion for public service and education over these last few months. It has been one of the most enriching experiences in my life to be able to participate in this honored tradition of local civic duty. Having a chance at being a school board trustee is important to me because we are in a climate of change and uncertainty. And through it all, I know one thing to be absolutely true. Our public schools are our greatest community asset. Shaping our future generations and giving them the chance to grow and be successful contributing members within our school community and greater society is invaluable work. I promise that if elected, I will continue to make it my highest goal to ensure the continuation of Commack's safe, inclusive, and academically robust education system. I will also make sure our policies are in compliance without sacrificing what we know to be true about public education. Many times I've been willing to step up and take on leadership roles because I know I have what it takes to be a team leader and a collaborator who can encourage consensus and facilitate an environment where the transfer of ideas can happen openly and respectfully. Commack has a long tradition of putting its children first, and I would love to be the candidate you choose to continue that legacy. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Goldstein, you have 2 minutes to provide your closing statement.
Thank you to everyone again for being here tonight and for your commitment to our schools. I'm going to keep it simple. Strong schools are built on strong relationships and between teachers, families, students, and the board. As a board member, my role is to ensure that we have the right policies and resources in place to support the hard work happening in our classrooms, while empowering our teachers and administrators to do what they do best. When we support our educators, we empower our students. Our teachers are already doing incredible work. What they need is a board that continues to listen, make smart, student-focused decisions, and ensures the tools and programs in place help every child reach their full potential. I'm not running because I have all the answers. I'm running because I listen, I collaborate, and I care deeply about doing what's best for our kids. If elected, I'll bring experience, integrity, and a strong work ethic to the table. Let's work together to keep Commack moving forward. I'd be honored to earn your vote and serve as a strong, thoughtful partner on the Board of Education, committed to excellence in education and the success of every student. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Please get out and vote on May 20th. And that's all we have. Appreciate your guys' time.
Thank you.